Hi everybody, I'm Jeff with Virginia Paranormal Investigations, and today we're up here in Gettysburg National Park in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which is a very historic battlefield. It saw a lot of bloodshed, and it was a pivotal turning point in the Civil War. Here we are driving up to Devil's Den, and it's a little bit after 9. The park doesn't close till 10, so we were able to get out here while it's still dark. And this is supposed to be, of the miles and miles, I believe they said 40 plus miles of Gettysburg, this is supposed to be one of the most haunted locations. And if we can find it, once we get there, we'll tell you a little more about it. But as you can see, it's a long, windy, fairly creepy road at night to get up to it. Alright, so here we are, coming up on Devil's Den. This is awesome.
Supposedly there was a Confederate sharpshooter that was hiding somewhere amongst these rocks, and he was able to take out hundreds of the Union troops before the Union was able to use spy glasses and mirrors to be able to figure out his location and to be able to kill him. Now, there was also a war correspondent and a photographer. This was in the early days of photography. He came down here to take photographs of some of the soldiers, and he found this was directly after the battles, so there were bodies laying around everywhere. He instructed his assistants to take some of the bodies and move them around, I guess to be able to give himself a better picture. And he supposedly took one of the soldiers and dragged him into the rocks where the sharpshooter was supposed to be located at, and left him there and took photographs trying to make out like this man was the soldier. And that is one of the theories as to why Devil's Den is so haunted, is because the soldiers here were not left in their final resting places. They were moved around, they were shuffled around, and supposedly some of the stories here are that batteries on cameras will drain, cameras will not work, not able to take photographs, not able to use camcorders. As you can see, we're using ours, at least for now. So, but they're, I guess the spirits are angry with photographers for this guy having moved this stuff around.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look around here and kind of get the layout of it and see what it looks like. So far it looks awesome. Huge rocks, little passageways that go in between them, and I'm hoping that the legend of the batteries getting drained doesn't hold true, because I brought all our batteries with us. They're all in the car, and if that's the case, then we're not going to have anything for Fort Mifflin. We're going to have to buy all new batteries. So let's look around here and see what we find. Oh yeah, they got a bridge up there.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it must be steps at either end.
Yeah, because I saw someone walking around up there earlier.
Yeah.
So perhaps we can go check that out. These are some pretty big rocks. Now, we do have to keep in mind that there are other people around, so any voices we hear may very well be from them. That's interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Perhaps I should see if I can get a closer look in here, huh? I'll go back in here. Take a wow.
Gets pretty narrow there.
It does.
I'm not sure you'll be able to squeeze back in there.
I'm not sure I'm going to attempt it, but it goes way up here.
Wow.
It goes way back in there, but there's a bunch of rocks that have fallen down.
Right.
And then it seems to go back in here and around to the left.
Wow. That's amazing.
Some good hiding spots.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, this is definitely a perfect point for a sniper.
Yes.
That's quite the advantage there. They have a little walkway here that goes up to the top of Devil's Den, so at least we don't have to skill any rocks. And that's always something that I enjoy, is finding a path that I can take as opposed to scaling up the side of a cliff. Alright, so off the path there, if we come out here, I think this might be a good place to set up. And I say that because this is probably the area where he would have been. You think?
Yeah, I would think so.
But we gotta be careful, because look down there. Woo!
Yes.
Fall down in those cracks. Man, there's all kinds of hiding spots within these rocks.
We are here at Devil's Den in Gettysburg, and we would like to know if there's anyone here with us. We heard there's a Confederate sharpshooter. Are you here with us right now?
Can you tell us your name?
We heard that you killed hundreds of Union soldiers. Do you know how many you killed?
If you are still here with us, can you give us some kind of sign that you're here? Can you make a noise? Maybe move something for us. We do have a truck going in the background. A very loud truck.
We would love to take a picture of you. You see where my flash is coming from? If you stand in front of that flash, maybe we can take a picture of you.
Have you picked anything up at first glance on the pictures?
Not at first glance, no.
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 There are, I imagine there will be a lot of bug-related orbs.
Yes.
I saw a plethora of lightning bugs when we were coming out here. I mean, they were just lighting up the fields and the trees, and I still see them. I'm not sure if you can see them on the video, but they're there. They're all over the place.
Right.
Mosquitoes, too. I feel these mosquitoes all over.
Yeah.
I don't really like that. Is there anything you'd like to tell us? Do they actually know the name of the sharpshooter?
I didn't read it anywhere. No.
So not that we read, as far as we read, they don't know the name of who
Right.
the actual sharpshooter was. Just the person that I suppose the photographer had propped up in position to try to say was the person.
We don't know who that was either. We know the name of the photographer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the article that I was reading just before we came in didn't say anything about the names of the sharpshooter.
Can you tell us your name? We don't mean to trespass or to intrude or to be here unwanted by any means. We'd just like to know if there's anything we can do to help you. We'd like to know if your spirit's still here, if you're still here. Alright, so I guess we should go ahead and wrap up this EVP session.
Yes.
Thank you for talking with us, if you did.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything else you have to say, could you tell us now? Because we're getting ready to turn off the recorder and head out of here. So we left Devil's Den earlier tonight. Awesome place. The very steep rocks. We went up on top of them. We did an EVP session up there. I gotta say, there's a creepy feeling that overcomes you while you're there. There is some movement that you'll hear in the brush and such. Probably small animals and stuff settling in for the night or moving about. Who's to say? We can't say for sure that any of that was paranormal, but it is a little unnerving just to be up there in the silence and you hear something moving behind you and stuff. We got to review the EVP recording and see if we picked up any disembodied voices or anything like that. I will say the rangers show up at 10 o'clock on the dot, a little bit before 10, to make sure everyone's out of that parking lot. So we came down just a couple minutes before 10 o'clock. We were able to get out of there, and it was pretty cool because we were able to see it in the hours of darkness because the park is open till 10. Yeah, so Little Round Top. Here it is.
Wow.
And yesterday we stood, I don't even see where the memorial is that we stood on, or the monument.
Yeah.
But
This is what we were seeing yesterday.
beautiful, beautiful scenery. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in down here, and you're going to see Devil's Den. So there's Devil's Den from Little Round Top. Amazing, and you can see those rocks, how steep they are even from here, and how much they stand out against the rest of the landscape. I mean, a perfect place for a sniper, as we mentioned last night. And we got to get up there and do some EVP sessions, so hopefully we pick something up.
Yeah, right?
But I'm going to pan over here,
Yeah, we're all
and
right. Honey, we have about
you can just see the landscape here, miles and miles of battlefield. And Linda, let me get your thoughts here on Little Round Top while we're here. It's our first time seeing it.
It is.
We did look for it briefly yesterday, but we got sidetracked.
Right.
Ended up looking up memorials in the woods and stuff like that.
I mean, what can we say? You've seen the scenery. It's amazing up here. Just so picturesque. And the opportunity to see Devil's Den from here, just that little cluster of rocks out there. When yesterday we were walking amongst them and the rocks were just so huge. It's just, there's just no words for it. This is just beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Just beautiful.
All right, so one interesting thing to note is the battery life. I have 2 batteries for this camera, and I've never run out of batteries on an investigation, the battleship, St. Albans, you name it. I usually go through 1 battery and just into the next one. The battery here has 35 minutes left on it, and we really didn't do that much, so it seems, video. We did some of the battlefield, we did some at Devil's Den, we did some at Sachs Bridge, and then a few clips today, and it's down there.
Right.
Also, my cell phone, I've had to
Yes.
charge that several times.
Several.
And I've used that to take pictures and video throughout as well. So
Yeah.
is there something to be said about batteries being drained
Very well.
here on the
could be.
battlefields?
Right, and even this Canon digital camera, I've just used it on automatic, which seems to use the least amount of battery life, and still it's drained pretty quick. So, yeah, batteries.
So interesting. Could it be all the spirits that linger on the battlefield?
Certainly could.
Definitely possible, and there have been other reports of that, a lot of reports of that,
Yeah.
from various sources
Right.
throughout the internet and stuff that we read last night and yesterday
Yes.
in our research. But we're up here at Little Round Top, right?
Yes.
And we have a monument up here that we're up on top of, and we're looking down over the Devil's Den and the battlefields below and such, some sniper pits. And I think we're going to go head on down the road and maybe check out Devil's Den during the day. We saw it at night in the darkness, but let's see what it looks like during the daylight.
Today.
So here we are, Devil's Den. And as we may or may not have been able to see last night, there's all these crevices in there. All kinds of little hiding spots and stuff. Little caves that look like they go fairly far back. I think this is the one we somewhat looked in last night. That's what it looks like in there. And it's back in there pretty far. You can hear people walking above. It's kind of scary, so I don't want to go in there probably. So what do you think?
I think that it's beautiful. It's, as I said before, just surreal. I mean, these boulders are huge. And the fact that they were all deposited here in this one little spot on the land is just, I mean, it's mind-boggling, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Nature is an amazing thing, and it's places like this that really show you that that's true.
The steep rocks of Devil's Den. So here we are at a little historical marker that talks about the fight for Devil's Den, and it's overlooking Triangular Field, which is straight ahead of us there. Another very scenic battlefield, and you can imagine it looked somewhat similar, I'm sure, during the Civil War. So we wandered over here to Triangular Field, and that's the field that's seen behind us here, and quite a battle that ensued in this field.
Right. Yes, that is correct. Basically, what happened here, to sum it up, the Confederates were down here at the lower end of the field. They had a position there with the Union at the top of this ridge that you can't see, but it's back behind the camera there. And the Union had brought their battery up there. They had a number of cannons sitting up on top of the ridge. But unfortunately, the Union was not able to aim the cannons low enough to hit the Confederate positions down here. The Texans that were over here with the Confederates had marksmen positioned around the area, one of which was positioned in the pile of rocks over there, the pile of boulders, Devil's Den.
Devil's Den.
Yes.
One of the ghosts that may linger over
Right.
there at Devil's Den.
Right. And this marksman was able to pluck off all of the guys operating the cannons on the Union Ridge up there. So the Confederates were able to rush forward, and the Union came down off of the hill, and they fought probably right here on the slope. And
down here in this valley.
right, and the Union leader, Ellis was his name, was killed, and they were able to basically overcome the Union.
And now General Benning and his men,
Right.
Confederate general, also came and gave support during that battle.
Right. They were the Georgian Brigade
That backed up
in
the
support
Texans.
of the Texans. Yes.
And he has a famous quote that you may have heard. I've seen it on some shirts and bumper stickers and such.
Yes.
Especially when it's related to the Confederacy. Give 'em hell, boys.
Right. Yes.
That's where that came from. General Benning, that was a quote that he yelled. And interestingly enough, Fort Benning, Georgia is named after this Confederate general.
Right.
So quite a interesting person, significant point in the war.
Right.
It shows where the marksmen came into play and how significant they were as well. They were hard to get around.
Absolutely.
Especially nestled up here in these rocks and such.
Yeah, you know those Texans could shoot.
Right. Now, this triangular field
Right.
has been labeled by a few sources on the internet that I've found
Yes.
to be one of the most
most
haunted
haunted.
spots in Gettysburg, and some have
Right.
claimed it to be the most haunted spot.
Yes.
Yes. We didn't know exactly where it was last night, or we came by here right after Devil's Den and did an EVP session.
Right.
But now we know where it is. What they have seen is apparitions mainly. There's been batteries draining, as
Yes.
have been the reports with several other locations throughout Gettysburg, and there's been apparitions that have been seen. And as you can see, there's a gate right over there that leads to the field, an old gate, and one of the apparitions has been seen from that gate. So as you can see, it's a very, very scenic view that we get from up here. I mean, this is some beautiful countryside up here.